Are we live? Are we live? I think we're live, yeah. Okay. Hello, cartographers. Hello, gamers. Hello, friends. Hello, artistes. Welcome, everybody. Here we are. The Mappening 10. I can't believe it's been 10, but it has been a long time since the first one. So I guess, I guess you could argue it's taken me a while to get to 10. But I want to thank you guys for joining me here for a little live RPG cartography. I've got a lot of irons in the fire these days in terms of maps. And so this is one that I'm going to be working on probably for the majority of this time, although sometimes when I, run into a question that I have for the client or I just, I get stumped in some way. Yeah, maybe I'll shift gears and work on something else. But this is the plan. Welcome, everybody. Aluk, I might be saying your name wrong. Auka, maybe? Slotograph. It's he asks, and does it ship anywhere? I'm in Africa. In terms of the Oath of the Frozen King, the book that this map is for. I don't know about that. Yeah, someone said only in the U.S., but you can find out more on absolutetabletop.com. Lots of people here. Very good. Very good. Thank you guys for coming. Fun for Bryce says, I love your vids. Thanks, man. Why don't we do a little shout out while I'm getting settled in here? Nerdarchy does this and I like it. Where are you guys watching from? We've got one somewhere in Africa. Tell me where you're from. All right. So as I said, I'm working on a map for the Oath of the Frozen King. This was a Kickstarter run by Absolute Tabletop. Good friends of mine. They have an independent publishing company. You can check them out at absolutetabletop.com. There is also a link in the description. We are also going to be doing a giveaway today of the book Index Card RPG Core Rulebook. I did a review of this last week. You can find that on the YouTubes. And we're going to be giving this away. And I will probably be doing that right off the bat here. So let's do it. I've got a little Gleam link, and I need to pick a winner. And it is loading my winner. And the winner is Travis Roush from Des Moines, Iowa. Travis Roush from Des Moines, Iowa. You get this copy of Runehammer Games Index Card RPG Core Book. This is coming your way, this very copy. Hankerin Furanail himself had his greasy mitts on this copy. I should have had him sign it. I did not think about that. That would have been cool. But I'm sorry, I didn't do it. So anyway, this is Index Card RPG. Check out my review. Really cool book. Congratulations to Travis Roush. Okay. This guy who keeps saying me is not going to get a shout out if he keeps doing that. All right, I'm going to do some shout outs here to people are telling me where they're from. Josh Alexander from South Africa, awesome. Fun for Bryce, California. We've got BC, Canada from Mike the Piper. We've got Nashville, Tennessee for Kevin Webb. Lawrence, Kansas for Lexi. And Wes from Seattle, Washington. Them's my stomping grounds. Auka is in Cape Town. Okay, maybe I'm saying your name right again. Sorry if I'm not. Ishan Gosh, I'm probably saying your name wrong. Sorry. You're from India. Welcome. Long way. Pedro from the Bay Area. Sean from California. We've got Comic Sans from, I like your name, Ohio. Tommy Bennett from New York. Tiago from Portugal. Maybe my first Portuguese live viewer. So, yeah, that's awesome. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. And, I'm looking forward to working on this map a little bit. What I've got in front of me is a dungeon map, essentially, using the drop dice method, which is a method of making a map that the guys at Absolute Tabletop came up with for the Oath of the Frozen King book. Again, this was a Kickstarter. I think the Kickstarter ended in May or June or something. And really successful. And they asked me if I would do a little kind of how to draw the a dungeon map using the dice drop method. And what the dice drop method involves here, I'll just kind of walk you guys through here. Let's see. First, we need to remove the spammer here. Okay, there we go. And now we are going to explain the dice drop method. All right, so the first step in the dice drop method is I'm gonna hide my layers here and show you guys where I started. I started with there we go. I started with this basically dropping some dice on a sheet of paper. Okay, and yeah, it's a pretty simple method. And then I kind of rearranged them a little bit, but then I traced them. I drew them, and just to kind of show, and this is what will actually be shown on the diagram. I won't show the photo of the dice. I will just show the dice. And then you draw some circles. And I can't remember, I have rough circles and rough circles too here. I think I did it a couple different times. But anyway, the idea is then you trace these and you can connect them into a dungeon sort of thing. And I originally had it vertical, and then I had to adjust it to fit on the page better. But and then once you've done that, each of these rooms kind of correlates with or each of these dice correlates with a room, and each number correlates with something about that room. So for example, on the D20, which is the frigid tomb, I rolled a 19. That means that the Frozen King is locked in combat with other monsters or NPCs. And then, yeah, so the D4 was the Hall of Bone and Ice, so that room is set. But then depending on what you roll, there's a different encounter or characteristic of that room. And so there's this chart, and yeah, it's just really cool. I really like the method, and yeah, it's fun making this. So again, I have to figure out, I think, whoops, rough notes, rough circles. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, so I think it's something like that. Lexi asks, hey Nate, do you use a tablet to trace things in Photoshop? Yeah, in terms of like actually drawing stuff, I use a Wacom Intuos tablet. That's what I'll be using here today. See if there's any other questions in the chat. Yeah. So, I am going to... Oh, before we get going, I also wanted to give a shout out to the patrons. I want to thank them for their support of the channel. I am putting their names up on the screen here. Thank you guys so much for your support. It enables me to do giveaways and stuff like that, along with, this. In this case, it's the generosity of Hank for hankering just for giving me this book, an extra copy. Super cool. Yeah, it enables me to keep on doing what I do here and gives me the motivation to keep on streaming, keep on drawing maps and all that stuff and making videos for you guys. So here's to you, patrons. If you want to find out more, visit patreon.com/WASD20. All right, I'll put the Mappening title back up here. Here we go. All right. So the job that I have today now is to make this into a dungeon, something that looks more like a dungeon, right? So if we get rid of the dice, which I know they're pretty, but we're going to get rid of them. I did some dungeon walls, and these were very rough. But here's what I did, okay? Now, I also have to say, speaking of hankering over at Drunkens and Dragons and ICRPG and all that stuff, I've been super inspired by his art lately. And he did a kind of how to draw a dungeon tutorial, and more importantly, his just kind of drawing tutorial. He did just a drawing tutorial a while back, a stream, and it was really good. So I definitely recommend people check that out. I've been just considering a lot of the things that he said there, and definitely trying to take it to heart in my own drawing, which most of the time when I'm drawing a map like the Aeronaut map back there, it's a pretty different process, and yet there are definitely principles in terms of just how you draw lines that still apply. So I'd highly recommend people check that out if you're interested in drawing maps at all. I mean, his tips are just general art tips, but they're so good. They're so good. So you'll see me definitely using some of his techniques there. Now, I have been working on my MacBook for the past little while here, so let's see if I can get used to being back on my PC, and there's probably going to be some settings that are a little bit different, but hopefully it won't mess me up too much. All right. Yeah, so it's your boy. There we go. I like the name. Why not add a secret passage to the start and end for the lucky or observant players? I like that idea. I actually do have, you can probably see if I get rid of my notes here, a secret passage right here, but not from beginning to end. Yeah, and I don't. This secret passage right here is not Absolute Tabletop sanctioned. Maybe they'll be okay with it, maybe not. I don't know, but I've got it there for now, and yeah. Yes, I will put links to the tutorials. That's a good idea for Drunkens and Dragons. Drunkens and Dragons drawing. Hankerin has been making his way to Gen Con on his motorcycle lately, and I've been following that a little bit. Really cool. All right, so drawing tips and tricks and mapping the Doom Vault. I will put them in the show notes. I'm not going to do it right now, but if you go to Drunkens and Dragons on YouTube, they're like the recent most. They're both in his recent 4 videos that he's been making. So, yeah. Ivar, I am not. I am on Discord. I am not in the map making server. I should be. I think that started from the subreddit, right? Map making, and I definitely should be. I was in Devin Rue's server for a while. She's a cartographer, really good, but no, I'm not. All right. So what I need to do here is, I'm gonna get rid of this. This was just kind of me messing around. You know, maybe it took me 5-10 minutes just to kind of draw some things. But the thing I don't like about this that I want to tweak a little bit is I want to get more variety. So you can see that I do have 2 kind of chambers that are square or rectangle. And then I've got these more natural cavern type things. I'm not sure what the balance is going to be here, but I also really need to look at the notes actually in the supplement Oath of the Frozen King in order to figure out how to, or I guess what those locations are going to be. Okay. Good. Now, let's see. I've got this up here. So let's start, for example. I do need the rough notes back up now. Okay, there we go. We're going to start with the D10, which is the Sword Shrine, because that's my first room here. And then the D8 is the Altar of Sorrows, which is next. And there's a mad troll in there. All right, so let's look at the D10. Sword Shrine, Sword Shrine, Sword Shrine. Where is it? I'm using my tablet here and my pen to navigate my browser, which I'm not used to. There we go. Okay, so it says about the Sword Shrine. The frozen shrine at the center, shrine at the center of the room glows a pale white. Somehow the air in here is even colder. All right, sights. An ancient broadsword with runic curses etched upon it. A freshly severed hand grips the hilt of the sword. So cool. A set of vaguely humanoid ice sculptures, their faces frozen in silent screams. Ooh, man. The incessant dripping echoes through the chambers. That's sounds. There's 3 sounds. The faint ghostly hiss of cold steel being honed. And something clamors below, howling in the night. Sensations. A chilling blast of wind carries the sights of sounds of ancient battle. I think it should probably be sounds. This I have their not completely edited here version. They're not quite done yet, or at least not when I got this. I think they are done editing now. The room seems to be slowly melting, and the walls and floors are slick. Your reflection in the ice appears gaunt and hollow, almost skeletal. Oh man, so many cool, creepy things to add a little flavor there. So I'm going to get rid of my old one here. And we're going to get a new layer going. And I'm going to call this Dungeon Walls 2. we go. Okay. So now I could make it, I think I do want to stick with that kind of square chamber. That makes sense more for the beginning of a dungeon than it does for the end. I kind of like the idea, and it doesn't always have to be this way. Sometimes it's vice versa. In fact, the map I drew for this map making app review about a month or two ago, I did the opposite, where it starts as a natural cavern, and then inside there's like a temple, basically, that's inside this natural cavern. But in this case, I like the idea of starting with, like, and maybe even on the outside, there is some pillars. It's kind of what I had in mind before. So I'm not changing too much from my original here. I should mess with my brush a little bit. What do I want? I want some, brush presets. There we go. So I do want that. And then we'll go with, so this is one thing that I noticed Hankerin had. He had a little squish to his brush. Oops, that was not a squish. Try it again. Huh, that's not working. Okay, well, there we go. It's working with my mouse, not with my... All right, just add a little variety to the line depending on which way you're holding it. If you're using, if you're using paper here, I recommend for your dungeon walls getting a really good dark line. And for the dungeon dressing and the other things, if you're adding some rocks, if you're adding some texture, then you can use a thinner pen. But for your dungeon walls, go nice and bold. So use a Sharpie, or use I have these Papermate Flare pens, or something really thick and bold. I think it really looks better. So I'm going to use a pretty thick brush here. And it's, still going to be not super crazy thick, but let's see. Okay, so something's wrong there. I'm wondering if it's not picking up my tablet. Let's see. Nope, it is. Maybe I need to turn smoothing on. No, smoothing is on. Turn shape dynamics off. Nope. Now let me try zooming in. Yeah, it just looks a little bit jittery. I'm not sure why that is. This is kind of what I was talking about with maybe I should have stuck with the MacBook that I've been working on here. Maybe if I reduce the hardness a little bit, could try that. Okay, that's a little better. Not quite sure. Okay. Back to the pen. All right, so I do want to get some pretty straight walls here. But I want to avoid as much as possible using the shift key to get like perfectly straight walls like that, just because I want to maintain that hand-drawn feel. This is supposed to look like a hand-drawn map. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'll make it something like that. And this might end up being another rough draft that I go and polish later. And I'm just going to go over the lines multiple times because I want really good, bold, thick lines. Some of them are getting a little crazy, though. We don't want crazy. Just want good, bold, thick lines. All right, we will leave an opening. No, don't want that. Let's try going back again there. Nope. There we go. Okay, we'll have an opening here. Again, I'm okay with it being a little messy, but I do want good lines. All right, now what did I have before here in the dungeon walls? Okay, I kind of liked that, so I think I'm going to go with that, where I actually had a straight staircase down. Maybe a bit rough, but clearly not a natural stone staircase. clearly carved by humanoid hands. Or, you know, maybe goblinoid, I don't know. All right. So there we go. And we will get our stairs. Having trouble with straight lines here. Lately, I've been like realizing more and more what would the benefits be of a Wacom Intuos, and the benefits are real. You know what? One thing I just realized, guys, I think I have my tablet settings a little off, because if I go to mapping here, okay, good. Nope, I have it on both. In fact, maybe I will. Orientation, screen area. Yeah, monitor 2. Let's try that. I'm not sure if that'll, I don't know. All right. Alec Visser, hey. How's college? I think you just moved. All right, cool. All right, so we've got our entrance right here. Doesn't want to draw. Okay, and then we've got a stairway right here. And we're gonna take this actually and move it all up a second, because I'm getting crowded. There we go. And now we will turn our staircase down. Down, down, down. Okay. Good. Now, this is going to be going down, so I think the way that usually goes, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but I think you're going to start, like, bigger line. Nope, not that big. Bigger line, smaller, smaller. Something like that. Kind of represents the downward stairs. Except I kind of want to move that too. All right. See if we can snag that. Huh. Could not move because of program error. Okay. That's good. Okay. There we go. I'll tweak this later, just trying to get the basic idea here. And a little line that's going to bug me right down there. Okay, cool. And the winner of the giveaway was Travis. Let's see. Travis Roush in Des Moines, Iowa. Moneycraft. All right. Yeah, if anyone knows, has any idea why I'm seeing, you see that little like jitter in that line there? I'm not sure what's going on there. Why it would be doing that. Yeah. Maybe it's the spacing. Oh, I bet you that was it. Okay, let's see if I can, okay, I got dungeon walls. Now it's not drawing anything. I swear I get the worst technical difficulties during the mappening. Usually it's, oh yeah, Kyle Richardson says I believe it's spacing. Thanks, Kyle. I think you're right. I'm on eraser. Okay. Yep, there we go. Let's try brush. Yeah, I think that was the issue. Okay. All right, so now my opacity is all the way up. I'm going to make sure Sorry to spend so much time messing with my brush, guys. I just want to get it right. I do want to turn the hardness all the way up. Yeah, I don't quite like the slight fuzziness. All right, now in this room we do have a sword. So I'm going to start a new layer now, and we're going to call it Dungeon Dressing. You got your wrench, you got your balsamic. You got a little bit of troll blood over here. You know, it's all good. Throw some croutons on, it's delicious. All right, now we've got a sword in the middle of the room. So I'm just going to draw for now. I am going to put some pillars outside. Okay, this is dungeon dressing, though. Yeah, I guess I'll call the pillars dungeon dressing. Sure. We'll make them round pillars. So these kind of mark the entrance to the dungeon. These large pillars of some kind. These large kind of icy, twisted pillars. Except I can't draw a good circle. There we go. Good enough. Okay. And then we'll have some pillars inside too. We'll have pillars. 4 corners. And then we'll have an altar. Right here. With a sword on it. And I'm not going to be able to draw a sword, a good sword, at this level of detail. But that's going to be good enough for now. If we zoom out, it doesn't look terrible. Only bad. All right. All right. Now, we can get back down to it. And the next room. If I go back to my locations here, the next room is the Altar of Sorrows. So let's see what that is like. Harvester of Sorrow. It's probably in alphabetical order. It was the first one. All right. The Altar of Sorrow. Oh, it's Altar of Sorrow. Okay. So I had better fix that real quick in my rough notes. Okay, there we go. And back to this. Dungeon Walls 2. Okay. So it says here, a simple slab of rough-hewn stone dominates an alcove in this entrance chamber. A stone stairway leads deeper into the keep. Okay, so a simple slab of rough-hewn stone dominates an alcove. In the entrance of this chamber. Huh, okay. So sites, a simple stone dais, I think that's how you say that, dais, D-A-I-S. I see that word all the time in fantasy, and I don't know if I've ever heard it pronounced. Cluttered with worn copper coins, yellowed bones of various shapes, sizes, and sources, scraps of parchment with words denouncing the frozen king and his reign. So I'm thinking there's going to be some debris in this room for sure. The frigid winds whip through this chamber, ice crunches underfoot, whispers and weeping haunt this location. The air bites at you, stealing all warmth. The odd formations of ice make the actual shape of this room indiscernible. The place is devoid of all smell, save the twinge of icy steel in the air. For those of you just joining me, I am drawing a dungeon map using the dice drop method for the Oath of the Frozen King supplement, which is something you should all check out. Link in the description below. All right. It's an Absolute Tabletop adventure kit, which the thing I love about the adventure kit and this whole method here, it's a toolkit, it's not a module. They are giving you somewhere between module and like pre-written adventure, right? And like just a setting book. They're giving you some tools in a setting with a certain theme to kind of put together dungeons, encounters, unique monsters, NPCs, puzzles, traps, just all kinds of stuff. And it's really, really cool. It's a very novel idea that I really like. All right, so it's going to get rough here. We're not going to stick to the shape of this room is undiscernible, is what it said. All right, I've got my brush. I feel like my brush is not... Yeah, it's good. Okay, good. Zoom in a little bit more. And let's try this. It still seems a little pixelated. This Photoshop rookie should have stuck to the MacBook, like I said. All right, let's try going into my brush settings again. I wonder if it's my flow being at 50%. That could be it. That's probably it. It's probably one of the things. The guy called Bob says, is it available in physical copy or only digital? I think it will be available in both. It is not actually released. Those who kickstarted it have gotten a like a early version of it, kind of their beta or whatever, play test, I guess they would call it. But yeah, it definitely will be in both. Okay, so this is going terribly, just as I wanted it to. And I'm thinking my brush might be a little too thick. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna... Or else maybe I'm just pressing too hard. That's the other option. Either way. I'm gonna try again here. Abort! We got 63 crazy people watching right now. Awesome. Thank you guys for joining. All right, so let's make this brush a little bit smaller. There we go. See, I can still press hard and get a good thick line, but it's a rough room. The shape of this room is indiscernible. It immediately gets extremely craggy. All right, now it says that there is a staircase in this room heading down. Let's see. Mark Angelus says it is pronounced Dace. Okay. Deus. Okay. Auka says Deus. Yeah. Huh. All right. Moving on here. Gonna go back to my room description. A simple slab of rough-hewn stone dominates an alcove in this entrance chamber. So this is maybe supposed to be the entrance, but I'm doing it out of order. I don't know. They said you could do these in any order. A stone stairway leads deeper into the keep. Okay. So we're gonna go with a stone stairway at this end once again. We're just going deeper and deeper with every room. Eventually maybe we'll work our way back up, but for now, it's going deeper. All right, there we go. All right, might be able to hear my boys yelling at each other right now. Just, you know, just what boys do. Okay, so there's our stone staircase going down, down, down. The terror that awaits them. And Ruvb says, you are the single best D&D related channel on YouTube. I wouldn't say that, but I thank you for the kind words. And yeah, I'm glad you dig it, man. I would say I am among... I'm comfortable with someone saying I'm among the best. Thank you. All right. Dungeon walls. Okay. Okay. So now, what else can we add in this room? A simple slab of rough-hewn stone dominates. Yeah, so we're just going to, like, try to draw some kind of slab of stone here. Maybe, like, this is kind of above the rest. And then it works its way down here. So this is kind of raised. And then we'll go in, we'll zoom in way in here, and we'll get a little like this is kind of a little ledge here, sort of thing. Okay, that's good. And we'll add some, I'm getting into the dungeon dressing realm here with this, so I will definitely now kind of add some rocks here. And we'll add like a boulder right here. Or maybe they're chunks of ice. I don't know. Hey, they can be whatever they want in your little world. But I don't like the shape of that one. It's an ugly rock. Okay. And then we'll just do, I like to do this. And just kind of some rubble here. Zoom back out and see kind of how that looks. Yeah, that's diggable. Okay. Writer's block. I'm drawing a dungeon map for the Absolute Tabletop guys. Supplement Oath of the Frozen King. I do not like one thing, how these are angled. So, you know, one option, if I want to be crazy, which I do, we'll just see how it works. It probably won't. Would be to tilt this that way. I think that might actually work, guys. I just didn't like the way those cliff lines, ledge lines were sloped. All right. And you know, if you're working in Sharpie, as I suggested, and I know Hankerin likes, he's a fan of the Sharpie, maybe do it in pencil first. Or just do several versions. That's another thing I do. You know, I'll do my rough version in my notebook. And then I will kind of, yeah, I don't know, maybe draw it nicer on a sheet of paper or just draw it directly on my battle map. That's definitely something I do. I'm always sketching and things go through multiple revisions. All right. Atgore says, am I the only one who noticed the thumbnail of the live stream looks like Greece? Yeah, actually, that's a map I drew for someone. I didn't know it was Greece, but they wanted me to draw basically their world was like a fantasy version of Greece. So yeah, you can check that out over on sellswordmaps.com. More coffee. If you go to my maps, I think it was, I don't remember what that one was called. It started with an A. Something Greek. All right, that's pretty good for that room. That's a good start, I'll say. And again, I'm wanting to stick with kind of a rough hand-drawn feel for sure. And now, yeah, there's also some bones, various shapes and sizes and sources, scraps of parchment I could add, but I don't want to get overly detailed in here. Yeah, let me look up pictures of stone dais, maybe dais. I like dais. There seems to be some maybe not complete consensus on how it's said in the chat. Well, there's some kind of like Baywatch picture too that comes up when you Google stone dais. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Oh, but it did say, did you mean? Okay, yeah, that's better. The Baywatch picture's gone when I spell it right. All right. Yeah, so, you know, we could do, I don't know. Yeah, we could do something. I think I know what it will do here. Right here, we're going to do, in place of this rubble here, we'll do some kind of, okay, dungeon dressing. And get my brush back. And I think we'll even get rid of this right here. I'll do it later. Okay, so now I'm going to try to get my perspective right here. Something like that. And maybe kind of a step, one step on this thing too. There we go. Now, get in and erase this. A little tricky there. But it'll do. Okay. And then we got to get in and erase my dungeon walls on this. Okay. I'm not quite sure on the perspective on that. It's not bad. It's not bad. I can mess with it more a little later. And we are going to make, give this, some level of dimension here. Okay, good enough for now. I'm spending too much time on it. Gives me a good rough idea. Oh, I'm in the wrong layer. I just did all that on the wrong layer, guys. I could tolerate it, but I won't. 100 Eurosh1 asks about the brushes I'm using. I'm using pretty much the basic Photoshop ones. Yep, very basic. Very basic. All right, so get on the right layer, dungeon dressing. I'll just go around and kind of thicken my lines here too. Fit the line weight of the rest of it a little better. A little messy there. Okay, good enough for now. I think it might be cool if I kind of etched a symbol on that. What could we do here? I also noticed that my brush is no longer squished like I want it to be. I don't know why it makes me do this with my mouse. It does not make me do it with my mouse on my Mac. Okay. So if I wanted to do some symbols here, I would make them really light, kind of etchy, sketchy. So and like that. Ooh. Something. Okay. Anyway, we're just trying to get a little bit of texture on there. Yeah, it looks a little bit like tic-tac-toe, but we're going to go with it for now. All right. So that's that room. Yeah. Let's catch up on the chat here. How big is that room supposed to be? I'm not too worried about scale. I kind of like to leave that in the mind of the DM. I'm not going for like a gridded map, but I would imagine if I were, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I would say this would probably be about 40 feet from top to bottom is what I would probably say. Yep. 40 feet from here to here. But, you know, if that doesn't fit, alter. If you're playing gridded style, then obviously you got to decide that, right? Okay. We're gonna move on to the next room. I've spent too much time on this room. Luis says, "Greetings from Guatemala." Greetings to you. Buenas tardes. I think it's tardes there. Okay. Those layers, yeah. I have a few layers. For those just joining, again, this is the Dripe DOS. This is the Dripe DOS method, guys. I'll show you kind of where we started here. Now that we're about the halfway point of this here Mappening. Let's get rid of all these layers. Make them all disappear. I don't know why I'm talking like that so much lately, but I'm really liking it. Whispering all eerily into the mic. So, dice. Drop a bunch of dice on some paper. Trace them. Or trace them. Connect them. Think about dungeon rooms. Then, refer to your dice drop chart, which, if you get the Oath of the Frozen King, you can see, although, you can certainly make your own charts. Each of these dice represents a different room in this adventure kit, it's called. And then I wrote those in, what those are, and each of the numbers on the dice represent a different characteristic, a different encounter or scene or challenge that is also in the book. Okay, so those are, I wrote below. So the D6, Gunther's respite, and then the encounter that is in that room, which I will get to the description of that room momentarily, is on thin ice. And then you can also go read about that specific encounter on thin ice. I think that it sounds pretty cool. It sounds challenging, right? Yeah. So, or the chasm, in Grigor's kennel, that's the room, but then the challenge or encounter is, or characteristic of that room is the chasm. And then you can go read more about that as well. All right, so that's how this method works. And now I'm actually working on the walls of that dungeon, okay? And some of the dressing too. All right, we'll keep going here. So, one thing I'm noticing definitely is this room looks a little cleaner than this room. So, I think I got to go back and I said I was going to worry about it later, but now it's bugging me. The walls too, a little bit are, those are dungeon walls. A little bit, need a little bit of cleanup, but I'm mainly going to worry about that later. Straighten them out a tad bit here. Or maybe my other room is just too clean looking. Maybe that's the problem, right? Okay. I will change that altar a little bit just because the other one is, yeah, it's kind of tough because I drew that one more of a, not so much a top-down view. I'll have to reconcile that later. But maybe I will draw a sword. Good enough for now. And I'll worry about the altar later. That's kind of a visual indicator. There's a sword in this room, guys. Right in the middle, prominently displayed, being gripped by a frozen hand. Frozen hand. Okay. And... okay. The next room, get my notes back, is Grigor's kennel. And let's read about Grigor's kennel. A dozen sunken circular pits dominate this sour-smelling room. The remains of wolves, giant rats, and other identifiable beasts lay in piles at the bottom of these pits, forgotten for centuries. Yikes. Sights. Barbed whips and chains hang from the walls, yellowed bones of beasts piled at the bottom of the pits. I imagine some kind of matted fur, too, half-rotted flesh. Just gross stuff. Gross. Feeding troughs containing what appear to be gnawed human bones. Well, that's pleasant. Sounds. A distant howl emanating from the walls themselves. Muffled skittering like claws on flagstone. Chains jingle softly in the chill breeze. Sensations. The overpowering smell of rot mildew and wet fur. Something slouched and hulking moves in the shadows of the room. Brittle gnawed bones crunched beneath your feet. Okay. Yikes. So, the shape of this room. We'll make it more round than the last one. Increase my brush size. Make sure I'm on dungeon walls. Yes, I am. Okay, that's a good brush size. Yep. All right, so if we're making this one a little more round, but still a rough hewn look to it. Okay, there we go. The exit we'll do right here to Gunther's respite. All right, and someone said, Nate looks left, the mouse moves right. This is confusing. Yeah, my camera is not exactly where my my thing is. Huh, now it's not zooming in. There we go. Okay. We're zooming. Someone says, Satan XX512 says, please tell us if you are going to post something on the homebrew mechanics topic. Yeah, I don't know. I appreciate the suggestion. It's possible, yeah. No immediate plans for that, though. Okay. So, we want some pits in the ground. Now, the cool thing is these pits themselves could be kind of concealed, and you could make them kind of trappy, you know. All right, we're going to make this nice and dark here. We could fill in the whole thing as dark. Yeah, I kind of like that idea. Let's color. All right, and then we'll do a pit right here. They don't all have to be round pits. Rotting flesh and bones in these pits. Mm-hmm. Cool. I love the ideas these guys have for these rooms. I mean, it's all just terrifying stuff. All right, we'll make a little pit in the corner here. Okay. Yeah, so Nolan says, maybe to avoid making this room flat like the altar room, add some depth to the holes rather than filling them all black. That's not a bad idea. So what I was originally thinking was to make like, kind of like I did with the cliff wall here. So maybe if I do this, take my eraser in, and oh, and I realized another thing. Yeah, okay. I think you're right. I think I like the idea of doing dimension, although honestly, pretty new to that. But I like the way this room looks better than I like the first room. So, yeah, so if we made it like this here, and then another one here, and another one here, we can kind of get that, yeah, that whole more isometric view going a little bit. And then this sort of thing. I hear my dog howling. She probably heard me talking about dead wolves. She's like, my brothers! No! Okay, I gotta fill this in. Yeah. So, I think I like that better. For now, we'll stick with it. One thing I noticed is my walls, just the walls of this cavern, are not thick enough. So here's the Hanker and Fernell method. You do 2 sets of lines and you fill in the difference, basically. Fill in the gap. So, I'll show you what I mean in a minute here. But you probably know what I mean. The other thing Hankrin did in his, I mentioned I will post his inspirational videos in the show notes, the comments here, the video description. There we go, that thing. He did like a side view dungeon, which I want to do. It was really cool, and he's got one too in his book ICRPG. That one got a little screwy there, so let's kind of redo that. Okay. It's a little better. Okay. So now it looks kind of like pools. Oh, that's okay. We're going to stick with it for now. All right. Now we're going to make the walls a little thicker here. You know, another thing I could do is instead of filling it all in, I could just do some hatching to shade it. That might look a little bit better and make it look less like pools. But all right, now we're gonna do this thing I was talking about, where I take the rough outline, the shape, but I don't try to get it exact. We don't want that. No. Something like that, and then we just go and we fill in the difference here, and it gives it nice thick black line, but very uneven, which is what we want. I believe he says you get your fills going. Practice your fills. There we go. And again, you know, you can do this with a pen, you can do this with a Sharpie, you can do it with a pencil, whatever. Don't feel like you need to go out and get a expensive drawing tablet to be a dungeon master. I have found that while I appreciate pen and paper a whole lot, and digital is not like always my preferred way, my preferred method, I do think that in terms of like showing people stuff, this is a super clear way to do it. It's hard for me to get the lighting just right on my paper often, and you know, stuff like that. That one's a little too thick, and we'll just trim that a little bit too. That one's a little funky. Well, anyway. So, something like that. Okay. Not totally satisfied with it, but we're going to go with it for now. And now, zooming in. The next room, Gunther's Respite. Let's read about Gunther's Respite, guys. The shadows are deep with the stone cells of this large dungeon. The frigid cold seeps into each cell from circular chutes leading outside. Cells barred with iron. Okay, so sights. Cells barred with iron hold. There we go. Hold the frozen mummified remains of prisoners. The corpse of a massive beast. Its mangled form is difficult to identify beneath the layers of ice. A skeletal guardsman slumps over a small table, holding a pewter tankard. Okay. So, if we go to... I'm just going to take some notes here. Rough notes. All right, so we want cells We want a table. There's also the, you know, the corpses. I probably won't get to the level of detail where I'm actually showing corpses. But, yeah. Yeah, but I'll at least have a table and a... sorry. Thinking. A table and some cells. All right, this one's going to be a little more, a little less rough-hewn, we'll say. So we're going up like this, and then we'll go like this, where it's kind of squarish, but it's still, they tried to make a room, but it's, you know, it's still got the rough-hewn feel for sure. All right, then we're going to... Oh, and you know what? This kind of works perfectly. Oh, I'm drawing on my rough notes. Let's not do that. We will snag this. You know what? No. We're just going to start over anyway. Mystic Maps says, hey, what's up, Nate? Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Been a while since we talked. Miss Proximity, I think Travis from Des Moines, Iowa won, if I'm remembering correctly. I got to email him in a while. All right. So we're going to... Oh, yep, now I'm going to go on the dungeon walls. There we go. Okay. Get my brush a tad bit bigger here. Okay. Go like that. Okay, so that's pretty good. So again, it's kind of squarish, but it's rough. That's what I'm thinking. And now, we will probably have an exit over here. And what I was thinking is, since there's these kind of shafts of circular chutes leading outside, that's kind of a cool idea. And that could be one of the ways we have this secret passage here that I kind of did a dotted line to here. It's supposed to be a secret passage. So I like that idea. I don't really like this. I like that a little bit better. Okay. So there's no connection to 2 and 4. You know, I forgot about that. Yeah, and maybe that's a secret passage too. Or maybe under the altar there is a hole. Yeah, because there is a line there. I drew a connection there. And I think I want to maintain that. I think I do. So maybe it won't be necessarily a secret entrance, but it will be a little more hidden. Maybe they'll have to make a perception check to find it. But it'll be a pretty easy perception check compared to an actual secret entrance. Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that there. Who was it? It's your boy. Man, you are my boy. Dungeon walls, and then we'll make a little... I don't know what shape that room is going to be yet, but... yeah, a little something there, and maybe kind of... nope, that's... I think we're going to have to make that wider to make it a little... It's a slightly secret room, guys. It's a slightly secret passage. If you can find my Slightly secret passage. Okay, good. Back over to here. Stray line, probably on the rough notes. Nope. Where is that line? Anyway, I'll find it later. Oh yeah, it was on dungeon walls. Okay. Good enough. Okay. Alright, now. So we've got these chutes, these kind of circular chutes that lead to the outside. I'm thinking this takes us back up now. We've been descending. And this will be fairly level, but then this will take us back up. So to go up, we would go big, too big. Big, little, littler. There we go. To indicate that that does take us up a little bit. And then we've got these circular chutes. So I don't quite know how to draw those right now, but for now I think I'm just going to go no, I don't like that. I'll figure it out later. Okay. But there is going to be this kind of secret. One of the chutes is going to loop around to this other room. Actually, to the frigid tomb of the king. All right. Then, okay, so XX Satan XX 512 says, make the next room hexagonal where you have to make a blood sacrifice to escape. Take D4 damage. I like that. Yeah. Brandon Dudley asks if I got into the Reaper Bones Kickstarter. No, I didn't. I have plenty of Reaper Bones. I have enough Reaper Bones for the next 5 years. We'll put it that way. Oh, that last sip of coffee. I wish I just had a little more. All right, so we've got cells. We've got a table. Table's going to be right here. We're sticking with our, and maybe this was a mistake to start this, but I'm doing it. Sticking with our more, yeah, so we're going to put it right here. A bit of a more isometric view. There's our table. Chair. Okay. Then we got some cells. For the cells, I'm going to make them kind of like rough. Yeah. Well, or maybe they're the old school like circular, like with bars. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with the more, oh, and I'm supposed to put this on dungeon dressing, so we will... I'm the worst at drawing things on the wrong layer, and sometimes it's like, it's irreversible. Like, there's no way I can just grab it and stick it on another layer, sometimes. Okay. Cut. Paste. It won't let me paste it. There we go. And we'll put that on dungeon dressing. Merge down. Oh, first I'll put it where I want it, though. Okay, in the corner there. And now we'll merge it down. Let's see. Wouldn't you want a higher perception check, It's Your Boy says, since it skips a major chunk of the map? Yeah, that's probably true. And then maybe I was thinking of making this one very secret because it goes to the last room, but it's only skipping one room. So this one right here, from Gunther's respite to the Hall of the Frigid Tomb, could be a little easier. I like that idea. Thank you. It's your boy proving that indeed he is once again. All right, so now dungeon walls. Okay. Cool. So yeah, right now I've kind of got this mishmash of like top down and isometric that I might have to reconcile at some point, but I'm not going to worry about it right now because I'm having a good time. And you guys are too. Nope, you are too. Don't even. Nope, you are. All right. Back to my brush. And we're in dungeon dressing. Okay. Good. So I think that probably will make okay, that's going to be too tall. So we'll make kind of a cell right here. Let's try again, Nate. Resolution. That's a good question. I don't know. I'm sure there's a very easy way to figure that out, but I don't know my resolution. Brushes, pretty standard brushes. I just squished it a little bit on the advice of Hank Rinfurno. All right, so if we draw it kind of like that. I turned my chair and it threw off my my angle here. All right. Struggling with the cells. I think I'm maybe getting a little too detailed is the problem. But anyway, we'll make a couple cells here. One right here as well. Yeah. The perspective is what's messing with me. So probably going to end up going back and just doing more of a top-down view, but I'm not sure. Okay. Anyway, there's another cell there. And we'll erase the walls. Those are going to be placeholders. I'm not quite totally happy with how it's turning out here. Okay, dungeon walls, and I will erase this little bit here for now. Okay. And then we've got some rotten corpses and whatnot. I'll put some, maybe there's a corpse there. There's some debris. Yeah. Gross things, you know, another gross thing there. All kinds of gross stuff. Stuff on the table. Little corpse. Drawing this on the dungeon walls layer, getting my layers wrong once again. I'll fix that later in the interest of time. You guys didn't come to see me drawing the wrong layer. All right, dungeon dressing, dungeon walls. All right, let's go on to the next room. That room has foiled me, but I'll be back for you. All right, Gunther's Respite. Next one is the D4, and that is the Hall of Bone and Ice. This enormous feasting hall is a frostbitten shadow of its former glory. A massive wooden table, split in twain, rests at its center, bound together by iron bands. A long, spoiled feast sits in piles upon the shattered table. Ooh, I love it. Sight, a massive feasting table wrought of dark iron and oak, split at its center. A series of faded tapestries displaying the reign of the frozen king. Empty nooses longing for fresh necks hang from the broad joists overhead. Sounds, the creaking of hanged men through though the nooses above hang empty. Two distant spectral soundscapes, a merry feast, and the din of shrill screams. Ooh, ooh, terrifying. The sundered table creaks under the weight of a rotting, frost-covered feast. Sensations, a strange unnatural hunger stirs in your gut. The stench of spoiled feast is almost overwhelming, and the shadows on the wall resemble the silhouettes of hanged men swinging lazily back and forth. Oh man, I love this. See, I ran this, The Oath of the Frozen King, by the way, back in, I think it was early June or late May, and you can go watch that. It's on my channel. It was a lot of fun, but this, they tweaked some stuff. They added a lot more detail and basically made it just like a lot more crazy. So, yeah. I remember the sacrifice room, but I am drawing, I'm drawing this map here. So, I don't have much creative leeway here, in terms of, I'm sticking to the script. Although that's the cool thing about this adventure kit is they really do encourage you to mix and match, use it as inspiration, and then just do your own thing here and there, wherever you want. They're recognizing that that's truly the way we end up running modules anyway. A lot of us, I have a hard time sticking to script. I think some of you guys are probably there with me. And it's really nice that they're kind of recognizing that and just saying, hey, do your thing. Use this as much as you want to, as much or as little as you want to. And anyway, I think it's really cool. All right, so... So I can still make it maybe kind of a hexagonal room. I kind of like that idea. If I can draw a hexagon, that is the question. I'm gonna we'll go on my rough circles here. Let me just make a new layer for my rough hexagon. Rough hex. So, that's not a hexagon, guys. A hexagon has 6 sides. Okay. I think I got to start with this side a little longer. Okay, so that's my rough hexagon. And now... And I'll move it from where I'm... Yeah, let's move it a little bit. And I'll probably want to make it bigger. Because I've got a huge feasting room here. It's kind of a crowded map, but that's okay. Okay, so something like that is pretty good. And actually, I can make it pretty big. I can make this actually like a, I can make it butt directly up against this room. Don't have to make like, little tunnel or a narrow passage between each room. Sometimes, I mean, in a hall, in a structure, my house, for example, probably your house or apartment or whatever, the walls butt right up against each other, right? So that is something I can do here, and I'll kind of make use of that. But yeah, I like that idea. So let's get back onto our dungeon walls. Brush. I'm going to make we'll go no shape dynamics to start with here. So dungeon walls, and we'll make it kind of a there we go. That one got a little weird. So I'm using the shift key to make a perfectly straight line on that one. And then I will probably go back and make it a little more rough looking, not quite so perfect, just to fit the style of the map. In fact, I probably should have made that thinner. Yeah, I'm doing it. Okay, let's make this line thinner, because then I don't have to. Come on. It does not want to get thinner. Okay, 13. How does that look? Yeah, that's a little better. Okay, zoom in here. Yeah, bud, I'm streaming. My boy. Asking him if I'm still... Are you done yet? Can you play Legos with me yet? Type of thing. Probably. Don't know if that's what he wanted. I will go from drawing a dungeon to building one out of Legos soon. All right. I'm digging it. Now, I will go back and actually kind of make it a little more varied. Again, I want to make this look like it's a hand-drawn map. B, I want to stylistically, it's just a little too perfect compared to the rest of the map if I stick with my perfectly straight lines. So we'll do this. Get a good line, Nate. There we go. Pretty good. And that's pretty good too. All right. Zoom out. Man. There we go. Zoomed out too much. All right, cool. Now we can make a door right there, essentially, from this room. And if we actually... Am I done? Yep. Got to double check that I'm on the right layer here and there. Dungeon walls. We are on it. Come on. There we go, man. Okay. Cool. And then we can get rid of our rough hex. And got a rough hex. Cool. All right. I think we're going to end this pretty soon here, guys, because it is almost Lego o'clock. It's 3:30 here. So if you have any final questions, leave those in the chat. But 2 things I will plug. ICRPG, Hanker Inferno, Drunkens Dragons. I will put a link to those drawing videos, and I'll also put in a link, an affiliate link to the book here on DriveThruRPG. And then already in the video description, check out the link to the Oath of the Frozen King, which you can pre-order. This map will be in there. It'll be a 3-stage map. The first one will just have the dice. The second one will have like rough circles around the dice. And the third one will have now, here's the dungeon based on this, right? So I'm kind of excited about it. I think it'll be pretty cool. And it's not like anything I've done before. Here's that map, by the way, I was talking about, of the, Hankern's doing the side view maps. Yeah, there we go. In his awesome style. So, Night of Cookie says, nice, you should upload these. Yes, this will be on YouTube. If you missed any part of it, you guys can go back and watch the rest of it. Sometimes it takes a couple hours to archive, like an hour or two, but it will be available for you to view. Okay. This one, whoops. Super Dig says we're in the same time zone. Well, come visit, man. I'm just kidding. No, maybe not. All right. Ooh. I should do like a meetup type of thing somewhere. I think that would be cool. Okay. The only plans I have, if you're looking to meet me, I will be at GaryCon this next spring, and maybe at GrandCon here in Grand Rapids, Michigan as well. I know there's a lot of people at Gen Con right now. Maybe some of you were hanging out in your hotel room instead of going to the con today, just watching the Mappening. Maybe? Probably not. Okay. So, this is going to be behind a tapestry here. Yep, that's what that'll be, because there's kind of tattered tapestries hanging on the wall. All right, now we have this long feasting table that is torn asunder. Something like that. All kinds of debris here. It's a mess. And I'm doing it on the wrong layer. And it's a good thing I am. I don't know. I kind of liked the beginning of that. 2035 in Portugal. Hey, this is one of the... and we got some Germany. Cool. Man, I wish I were in Germany right now, or Portugal or somewhere. That'd be fun. West Michigan's okay. What was I going to say? Yeah, this is one of the few videos. As my kids get a little older, it's getting easier for me to stream during the day. Traditionally, there was no time I could ever stream except for after my kids were in bed. But they're getting a little more independent, and my wife is resenting me a little less when I just up and leave the family. They can chill out. She doesn't have to care for them constantly. They play with the neighbors a lot, which is good. All right, gonna make some debris here. A fallen chair here or there. It's a mess. It's a mess. Okay. Let's make this edge a little darker here. It's not bad for a broken table, a large feasting hall. Not sure if I'm going to draw the tapestries. Could kind of you know, have something like that, but I think I'll skip it for now and maybe go in and draw something else like that later. Yeah. McDolan asks, do you have any recommendations for GIMP tutorials? I want to be more efficient with how I use the programs to make my world maps. You know, I got to be honest, like I have not watched many tutorials on Photoshop or GIMP. I don't know that much about either program, relatively speaking. I'll pick up a new thing from someone and it's like, oh, you know, that really can change the way I do things. And the things that I do are almost always not the most efficient way to do things, because I just like poke around and I'm like, oh, I wonder what this does. Oh, interesting. Okay, I think I can use that here. And there's so much that I have left to learn. So I am the wrong person to ask about that, unfortunately. But, you know, I learned enough to get by, certainly. I don't know what's wrong with my eraser tool. I wonder if it's because I'm using the, yep, that's probably it. For my eraser, I should be using, there we go, that. Okay, so zooming out, that looks decent. So far, so decent. And the last room, let's just get there, and I'm not going to be able to draw it on the on air here, but you guys will be able to see this one soon in the form of Oath of the Frozen King. The Frigid Tomb. This dim, frozen tomb carries an overwhelming feeling of oppression and death. A pale white fog wafts in the air, originating from a massive stone sarcophagus. Yeah. Gonna be cool. Gonna be really, really cool. So I'm thinking I will probably have this one be a little bit more of a... see, I think one of the problems I'm having is it's not changing my... when I flip back and forth between eraser and... yeah, anyway, it's not keeping my preset here for my eraser. It's not keeping them separate. So I'll probably have a staircase that goes up like that. And then room like that or something. Yeah, we'll see. Hey, thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I do want to say thank you to my patrons once again. You guys are awesome. I appreciate your support. And yeah, I'm entering a busy time period. Oh, and patrons, I also want to show off these little, let me make my camera bigger here. My resolution is not super high, so we'll see how it goes. But I made these nifty little bookmarks here for patrons at the, I can't remember what level. Maybe it was $10 a month and above or something like that, or $15 a month and above. And I owe you guys. So I finally finished them, but now I have to get them laminated. I'm like doing one thing at a time. It's like, okay, I figured out how to print them, and then it like takes me a week to get them laminated, and then it takes me another week to do the next step, and then it's just like, I'm the worst. I'm just busy. And started school this last week, so it's gonna be a busy time. I imagine this fall you will be able to see some streaming like this from me, because I've got some map work to finish up. But I'm not going to be super active in making like my normal videos, and I'm not going to probably won't be able to stick to my normal schedule. So full disclosure on that, I am going to be, if I can get my stuff together, I am going to be working on my capstone project for my master's in educational technology. So that's going to be keeping me busy. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. A lot of people tuning in, and everybody take care. You'll see me again very soon. Bye. Oh, I need to click I need to learn to click the YouTube stop streaming button. Stop streaming now.